Hello, everybody. Brian here from QuantLabsNet.com. This video is pretty well the tech end-to-end process of how I go about generating the institutional analytical reports. I'm going to show you that, plus the new latest C++ program that will take those trading bots, rank them, transpile them into C++ from Python, and I'll show you how that works from end to end. And this was requested by a few people on a recent stream. All right, so let's get over to the screen here. Okay, so the first thing we need to understand is we are developing some very institutional grade level reports that I don't think I've seen myself anywhere out there. One of the things that this is all institutional for futures and options. Right now, it's only working on CME only. So this is pretty well a fresh report coming in today. Uh, and just so people know, if you want to get a sample of that, we do have this website here um, called the new order book edge.com. So that's basically a Substack. So if you go here, look for this article right here, Algo Trading Revolution with PDF Reports, Institutional Strategies Reshaping Markets in August 2026. And these are sample reports that you can get from what I'm about to show you. All right, so here's what we're talking about. So there's a bunch of news, it's all news driven, event driven. Um, this one generated on the 3rd of August. But the thing that most will impact most people is the positioning on how the firms are trading. So these are what major firms are trading, how they're trading, the quantity, and the whole trigger points on their strategy for this new news based on what they're buying. Gold, December 2026, VIX, and so on. Some of the positioning here on Bitcoin as an example, asset managers unwinding Bitcoin long options, long Bitcoin December 2026 with put spreads selling Ethereum. So that's exactly what they're doing as some of the options out there. It's a basis trade. If you know about my course, you'll know about that and some other things, including Zcash as well. So let's just go through some of the other positioning here. So we have CTAs flipping to net short as per CFTC data. And this is regarding interest rates because of Fed policy. We have here some other things, what CTAs are doing as well. Dealer gamma exposure. So these are exactly telling you what the institutions are doing. Okay. Um, so institutional positioning, CFTC data on mixed flow, on US dollar for strong, hawkish Fed, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's all institutional, includes all right across the board. So out of that, we can create a kind of like a market preview in this report. So this is all, again, virtual. So if we were allocating 1.5 million, um, we could allocate about $50,000, 61 deployable trading bots. We have over 3,000 plus. I'll show you that in a minute. And if you were to take everything as is was suggested here, you would have an expected return of 3.4% and an okay average Sharp. Okay. So here's all the news for metals, energy, equity indices. Again, that's including S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell. We've got our crypto, fixed income, Forex or FX, industrial, including metals and agricultural product. Okay. That's the nice thing about futures and options. So here's some of the different instruments that have been performing relatively okay. Gold, euro, Bitcoin. Now these are not the raw prices. These are on the various strategies you could have used over a period of time. So those are all based upon the returns from those strategies, not the raw price. Okay. So we have here the different hierarchy. with Bayesian confidence. And then again, this is the important stuff right here. If we went into live finance, Yahoo Finance, we would notice that Nasdaq was up, so we get along there. A few other strategies, the direction, the reason why, with some news flow, some more signaling because of this report I just showed you earlier, the institutional level. We also have gold long as well. And then we also have another long strategy for gold, ZN, which is fixed income as well. And then it continues on with a euro shorting. So those are the suggested daily um, strategies we could use. You can see here that we've got available all these different mentioned strategy bots that is part of my overall system. In here, it asks for what's still working, risk reward, uh, which ones are bringing in decent returns. And again, when I say backtest, this is using real market data from Rhythmic as well. So there's some signals on which strategies were just one-hit wonders, ones that have high drawdown. Some of them have gone into the stale state. And again, I keep mentioning that's where the HFT shops will pick off these type of trades, open positions, because they're just not appropriate strategies that should be uh, deployed. And then there's just a general overall equity or portfolio sector allocation, indices 49%, fixed income 12, forex 16, the precious metal at 19. Here's all of the different recommended strategies with the rationale plus the risk level, plus the institutional I just showed you. So those are some of the highlight reports. If you want to get into the nitty gritty on the some of the other details, we have here back to a very heavy level of back testing as well, which I can show. Let's see here. Okay. So in here we have a backtesting folder. Now I generally don't offer this. Let me see if there's another one here. So let me just pull up a random one. Let's say from the 4th of August. So in here we have, oh, I remember. Right here we have a backtesting folder. Uh, where's our backtesting folder? Uh, yeah, right here. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is pretty monster files. The first one is an Excel spreadsheet, which is somewhat pretty daunting. So here we have all these different ranking. So let's say if I pull up one for August 6th. Okay, so again, that's today. So I'll load that up into my Libre, which is no different than Excel. This is LibreOffice. So this thing is pretty daunting. I've shown this before, but I don't really go over this too much because people don't want the nitty gritty, but I'll just show it to you anyways. So in here, you can see the overall strategies here. Okay. So these are the top performing out of all these. Gold, we have here silver, we have here copper. And if I go down the bottom, you'll find, I think it's about 300 deployable strategies. Okay. So we cover pretty well everything in here, all the different assets of whatever's performing, but it looks like gold's performing okay. From this spreadsheet, what I could show is, let's say this gold safe haven. This one's kind of not recommended, but let's say this one here, a Gen 2. Now we have a Gen 1, which is a raw strategy developed, and then in here we have here. a Gen 2, which is, I've mentioned this many times, we have 400 trading rules, institutional level, that we can apply to a strategy. And I'll come back wholly, wholly different because it's all applied. All these new trading rules have been applied to it in the source code, and this is all in Python. So that would be like an institutional level trade. So this is for option trading on a condor. You can see all the Gen 2 generally perform way better than the Gen 1, okay, because they're institutional level. There's, as I said, 400 rules. So this one involves futures and options. This one could be futures only. This symbol here, long, position, direction. Um, and then in here, we have the day it was created, total P&L, okay, average return, okay. We have here not the strongest sharp, but 0.88, win ratio of 52%, Sortino at 2, risk factor at 1.37, okay. Max drawdown, which is fairly high for gold because it's been volatile lately. So it's measured 6 months have been not profitable. The only one that's been profitable is this first one for the last 9 months. So out of nine, like out of the year, only six were profitable. Out of 3 months, 2 out of 3 months were profitable. This gets a grade of 2.22 B plus. Starting capital at 18,000, and this, as you can see, it sees okay, meets all strict uh, filter thresholds. So from that perspective, that's a good strategy. Also in here, we've got the equivalent of a PDF. Let's see if I could find it here. Um, so yeah, so I'll just pick one. This one right here. So this will be associated with a spreadsheet. So in here, we've got, you can see the number of pages we have, almost 1,000. So if we were to apply all 348 strategies I showed you in that spreadsheet, we would have had made 1.8 million uh, over, well, last since May, really accelerating since June. So the starting capital would have been 6.4 million. Again, this is this is all virtual. Okay, this is all theoretical. So we would have made 1.9 million, average sharp 3.9. Now this is obviously is all AI generated, so this is very optimistic. That's why we put all the different layering in to ensure that it filters out the overly optimistic strategies. In here, you got the win ratio at 61%. This is highly, highly optimistic. So here's the top performers. Again, that gold, Safe Haven, the Gen 2, some other charting here. And then here's where it gets interesting. So this is a list I just showed you. Okay, but where it gets really, really uh, powerful is the detail it goes through for each strategy. Okay, and again, this is could be very, very optimistic, which is fine, but is using real market data as well. So yeah, some people argue that, which is fair. So here's a uh, gold safe haven volatility trade. Okay, so we're up at an annual return of 2.5. Here's the AI estimate, 75%, but that's the actual profit. 2.5%, that's using real data. Sharp ratio, much lower than what's anticipated here. So there is that check, 0.75. Win ratio of 51% with a profit factor of 1.27. So this is what you want to watch. Okay. Then we get the standard portfolio metrics, Sharp, Sortino, Kalmar, all the rest with a grade, an assessment as well. And then right now there's moderate volatility, bullish trend, and all the other metrics in here. The thing what you want to watch for is the drawdown, percent wise. This one was quite high. I think it was 17%. So I probably wouldn't go with this. But anyways, you have all the max down drawdown. So it's kind of risky considering. So you can see what's going on here. Looked good for last year, but you can see overall the trading on gold, all these big drawdowns, but just lately in August it started to move up. So right here, we're starting to see a positive month for August. So that's something worth maybe paying attention to. We have our P&L distribution, the rolling 3 month sharp, um, and so on. This is what you want to watch for the monthly returns. So right here, we're in the green. So if that's a case, we know we can deploy it as well. Just so you know. So in here, coming into the second, remember this is a generation two, that 400 trading rules applied, and this one's got better return, 3%. I mean, for 3% return on gold is pretty good actually. Um, Sharp ratio 0.88, 52.4% with the win, and so on. Okay, metrics, everything's the same. Moderate bullish trend. You can see here it's been killed over the last couple of months. It's starting to show some uh, potential profit, but it's all been just negative returns. So maybe the first one might be better. Again, there's so many of these that it's crazy, and there's about 360 trading strategies, bots, whatever you want to call them, that are deployable along the way. So those are just some examples on the back testing that we can do on the with the this PDF, and again, almost 1,000 pages of real hard data, and then the spreadsheet itself, as I shown. All right, so that's all the data. Okay, so we know all that, and then everything's working off of spreadsheets, logs, the Python bot itself. So what's been generated lately is what I've demoed here. Now this is the C++ application that I've shown over the last week or so. Now, this has been generated with Kimi and bugging with Claude models. So overall, I've tried to embed everything into C++, get rid of the Python. In actual fact, I tried doing it with Kimi K3. I've done it with the new Quen 3.8. So the amount of information that's being moved around, doing it 100% C++ is not doable. That's my, I'm just compelled to think that way. Anyways, let me show you what we got here. So in here we have a bot summary with some of the bots I've shown you. So in here you might get a Bitcoin strategy, um, and then we also have the grade, the standard P&L. Obviously the sharp is way out of whack, and so on. So there's different methods to validate what strategies to go with. One of the things that I could obviously refer to is this one I showed you, this market preview uh, PDF. So in here, the intention is to only run these strategies by day trading. So you deploy them early in the morning and hope that you get some obviously profitable trades based upon what this is suggesting. So in this case, it's suggesting to go with, uh, potentially this particular one, this Gen 2 gold Fed pause condor hedge with options, or this one here of GC long. Uh, yeah, so it's ranked number 2 on the spreadsheet, gold safe haven demand capture. So if I go in here, let's see if I can find it. So if I look at the spreadsheet, okay, let's see if it's in here. So right here, this is the particular strategy, gold, safe haven Python, demand capture. It's a generation one. Okay. Uh, and it might meet all the metrics I want. So in here, it's been profitable 8 months out of 12 months, um, and so on. So this one's pretty good. It's been profitable for the last 3 months. So let's check that out. Win rate below the threshold. But if I take that same thing and look at the analysis of, I think this one, yeah, this PDF here, do a search on that particular strategy. Uh, let's see here if it found it. So let me just try finding that. Okay, so here it is, rank 25. So visually, 3.7%. Okay, so it is uh, using a spread trade as well. So this looks okay based upon what I'm seeing. The drawdown is 8%, which is tolerable. So that's 8 plus for that. We also have our standard metric, so 3% return. Okay, better than other gold trading bots. And you can see here what's happening is it's starting to rebound. So that might be a good thing. Okay. So even for intraday trading, this might be a good one to try out. So it's not very significant in the returns, but something maybe to investigate and deploy. So if that was the case, I could come in here and then I believe there is a bot rank search in here. No, bot summary. I know one of these. So let's see if I can find this strategy in here. So here it is. So we have gold, safe haven capture, futures, 1.29, wins 47%, estimated P&L, a B plus, and guess what? So now, uh, what I could do is, let's see if it's in here at all, just to show you the source code equivalent. Um, yeah, let me just see here. Okay, so we are looking for this particular strategy, this one right here. Let's see if it exists in the C++ app. Okay, so new app crashes, which is fine. Um, this one, let me just bring that up. Go back under strategies here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I can search for it. Okay, so let me. Yeah, it's crashed again. Anyways, c'est la vie on the stability on this is why I will not release it. But I can debug it to get it to a point where it doesn't crash. Anyways, so there's some strategies in here. Now, I do believe it did exist here. Let's see here. Yeah, it's going to crash again. Oh, no. Anyways, let me just show you a simple transpile. Okay. Okay, so I can transpile it. Okay, so it's transpiling into C++. So here's the process. So it's taking the source code. I could show you the source code as well, but it takes a bit of time for it to transpile from the Python found here um, into uh, the well, let me just show you. So we have some already available. So here we have one bot gold safe haven. Let me just find another one here. Wheat. Okay, so here's one. Um, so that exists. So all I have to do is go start. Let me just go under transpiler. Okay, so here it is. So this one did transpile into C++. So here is the exe. Let's just see here. I'm going to copy this and extract the folder from that. Bum. So let me just see if I can find it and show you the source code because a lot of people will want to see that, obviously. Okay, let me just go here and go here. Okay, so here's the exe that just got built, 115 for today, August 6th. Yep. So if I go in here, uh, I can go into the source code. So in here we have all the different files. Plus we have the headers or the headers. Okay, so let me show you for people that want to see it. Um, so this thing is built with the notion of trying to quote unquote make it ultra low latency like. Okay. So let me pull up, I'm just going to do this in Sublime. Okay. So here's the main source file. Okay. So in here, entry point connects into the Rhythmic gateway over Redis and runs the transpile strategy also. So what we have here is all the different Rhythmic stuff. Um, and there's the main program. Uh, it's pretty good. Now I use Redis because it's more stable than Windsock. Here's the strategy itself. Okay. So we have here all the different components of the strategy: extract price, extract bid, extract ask, extract volume, builds out a vector, and everything's all built with no coded targets. They're all based upon percent move targets. So we have here historical volatility, dynamic volatility measures, updated, historical. We have here the symbol resolver. This is for building out the contract size of the options and the forward contract. Uh, we know it's trading the gold GC. Okay, so there's some of the code there. Okay. Nice thing is it gives you a nice set of comments, which I kind of live and die by. And the includes a little more important here for the headers. As you can see here, we have here now people ask, is it using standard Black-Scholes? No, it's not because it's using Black 76. So we can see here. Okay, I'm going to try to have it open with my Sublime. And I just prefer viewing stuff in Sublime. Okay. So here's the Black 76 formula with all Greeks. Again, that's from the Python. So it's all converted as well. Now, people may go, well, does it work? Good question. There's some other indicators as well. So there's not really a lot of the quant formulas. I could make the prompt more complicated by using um, quant enabled if I wanted. So we have here the ring buffer, which is very important to make this more efficient in C++. And you can see here we have mean, average, summary, or percentile rank, whatever it needs, it generates it. Normalized PDF, normalized CDF, um, and then we also have the Redis client code, the strategy code. I believe, not sure if there's inline coding in there. Yeah, so here we have our strategy code. Oh, and there's all our definitions. And again, same thing. So pretty interesting how this works. And as I said, there is a exe. Now, how it works is I just run this. Okay, and here it is. So this can run internally within that C++, or that's the hope, but this is the thing it's running for. And in the C++ app, what will happen, and there's the engine that it will look for and run through that. Okay, so there's a lot going on here, as you can see, but this does work by transpiling the Python to C++ for whatever strategy I want. So let's say if I get this thing running, um, right, launch the gateway, go back to the bot. Okay, so in here we have our bots. So let me say if I'm going to start this one, the wheat versus corn. So I start it. So here's all the signaling, all that stuff connecting into uh, the Rhythmic. Okay, and in here you can see I have here the running bots as well. So it's 5 responses, so it's not a very active forward contract. So these events would count up a lot. So it's analyzing the bid and ask as the bot's running based upon those strategy rules I've shown you in the other strategy. So let me see if there's like, yeah. So let's say here, I'm going to stop that one. I'm going to run this one, the NQ volatility. Go back to the running bots. Uh, so here it's connected, but generally lots of debugging ahead still. But this would count up like quite a bit on the data as it comes in and analyzes it for potential entries and exits. So that's pretty well it. We have all the standard reports I've shown you. So where we're going with this is pretty interesting. Let me talk about that. All right, so I've shown you the general concept of how everything works. We get institutional reports, um, more focused on obviously the positioning and what institutions are doing. Out of that, there's a process that will create trading bots for, let's see if I can just find examples of one. Yeah, so let me see. Yeah, so let me go back to the code, to the screen here. All right, so in here, I just do this. So here's the code for this particular strategy, the bot copper AI breakout. I can choose another one here. Okay, let's say I go like a, I don't know, a micro Bitcoin. So there's a source code as well, all in Python. Okay, generated in Python, so that's all fine. And once again, all I have to do, so if you want to see that raw file, let's bring it up here. So I believe it's in one of these folders here, um, right here. I believe, yeah, this one right here. So that's the same file that you're looking at um, as well. Okay. So this code right here is the Python, and again, all I have to do is if I want to deploy it or put it in the section where I could deploy the bots, just do this transpile, and off it goes. Wait for the process to complete, and it should show up in my list. I'm not sure why it's not. Again, bugs, but generally that's the concept that what we're trying to do here. Um, so I'll come back to this once we get that completed. Okay, so as I said, that is basically what we're doing is we are able to take news, nitty-gritty news, institutional level news on positioning, what's happening in the markets and what institutions are positioning themselves and how they're doing it. And then what can happen is we can create bots around that, and that's basically timing on what the institutions are doing. And as I said, there's different types. There's the CTAs, there's the hedge funds, there's the market makers. There's a whole pile of different participants in the market, and they tell us basically at that time in the last 12 hours and what they're doing, and they're deploying types of strategies for this, buying these type of contracts and options, and then hoping based upon those contracts that this will happen, and then the news will explain the rationale behind that, and then we're able to to develop trading bots from that in Python. And let me just go back to the screen here. So as I said now, with all the different research capabilities I have, with all these different PDFs back tested and whatnot, I can manually decide if I want to go with particular bots. So in this case, we now have this one generated in C++. Okay. So if I go back to my bots, I'm hoping, yeah, here it is. So this is now the micro Bitcoin strategy. So if I go into the running bots, we have some responses, no data. Okay, yeah, I know why that is. I don't have my Rhythmic Pro Trader Pro's software running. That's fine. Anyways, if that was connected, yeah, you would see those data points move up and probably another thousand in a very short period of time, because those are bid and asks. Okay, so in this case, if I have the Bitcoin right here, okay, I could start that, and then that would be available to start trading as well, and I could stop it. And you can see here it's giving me the potential profit and loss in real time, based as is running. And on top of that, what I hope to do is to have a strategy or some form of monitor within this application in the C++ to be able to analyze that particular strategy and why it's not getting trades. And if it does, analyzes the open order positions and tries to optimize the exits as well. So that's kind of like on the to-do list. But yeah, it's very powerful what's been built out. This is the end-to-end process. Yeah, it's got bugs, um, but so far I'm very excited with it. Okay, so let me talk about the learning lessons to get to this point. The institutional stuff with the Python analytics, news capturing, all that, and the news being captured, that has always worked. But I wanted, let's say a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I wanted to do that 100% within C++. Well, you can already tell that the C++ app is quite big, and it just doesn't work well when you try to do all of these things included. The better way to do it is just to build a C++ app that will just focus on the strategies that you're about to deploy and then run them. That is one thing. Um, it's better to focus on for this particular app in C++. As you can see, it can transpile pretty good optimized C++ code as long as it works as it as shown. So in that case, lessons learned here is trying to put everything in a one application, including the news generation, generating the trading bots within this C++ application. I just don't think will work at the budget I'm willing to spend via AI. So that's why I had to break out both the Python analytics because that could take about an hour to 2 hours to run, and then have all the bots available in the C++ app with all the metrics that come along with it in this one app. So that's how, as I demoed it to you to see that. Once you start adding in all these additional things, I think it starts to break in terms of AI code generation. So unless you're willing to use a highly expensive Claude 5 level model like Opus 5 or Sonnet 5, you may be able to accomplish it. But you still got to contend with a lot of the multi-threading and stuff. So it's not very uh, efficient on cost level of that generation. You're probably looking at a few $1,000s to generate a full-on app to do that. So I just left it as is. But I still spent going down different rabbit holes of about 1,200 uh, experimenting, trying to get this accomplished on a cheaper, budget-friendly Chinese model like uh, Kimi K3 that just came out. Does it's a pretty capable model, but still not capable, I don't think, as any of the advanced models from, let's say, OpenAI or Claude. Then I just got access last night to the Quen 3.8, so I thought I'd use the Quen 3.8, try to redo everything. To my surprise, it did complete it, but it still ran into problems with all kinds of just weird bugs, as you already see with this one. So I abandoned ship. I just didn't want to go down that rabbit hole again of spending a huge amount of X on dollars on that. So I stopped that and then coming back to this app that works pretty good as is. So that's a learning lesson. So yes, Quen 3.8 is very capable. Communique 3 is pretty good as well on the Chinese front. And one note here, one person on a group that I'm part of claims, now if people can confirm this, claims that if I was to use either any of the Chinese models, that those Chinese models will embed side side doors, back doors into my code that gets generated. Now, I could look at from a security perspective using one of the Claude 5 models, like the Fable, because that's what it's built for, is to build out security. So I could run that through all the source code just to make sure that there are no backdoors. Now, my personal opinion on that is just a bunch of BS because I did run that query in Claude Opus 5 asking that, and it didn't come back and say it's something that could happen, but it's not publicly known. But what is known is the weights, because this guy was complaining about parameters. That's how they do it. They put the um all of the backdoors via the parameters and the weights in the model itself, and somehow it generates that in the code, but you won't see it. Don't ask. I asked him to give me the source of this information he had. He provided nothing. So I'm thinking maybe he works at MI6. He has knowledge on something, but we don't know, and he won't share it. So as far as I'm concerned, this guy's a complete conspiracy, uh, tinfoil hat kind of person. Because the AI with Opus 5 said it's not publicly known. The weights are public. The source code is public. People monitor this stuff for security. If it did exist, I'd know about it because the only thing I've seen with my own research is via Reddit. There's a guy complaining about that. Responses were, well, that's your fault because you let the AI get out of control because you didn't properly lock down via your prompting. There's another guy making claims as well. They're just hunches. They're not proven. So I'm convinced that the Chinese models should be okay. And if not, I would know about it because I'd find that information online. Question is, if you know of anything that's like that for these so-called backdoors, a code being installed via these Chinese AI. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's why I put this query out to people via video on YouTube. So that's pretty well it. Now, as I said, I'm only doing this for my own research. If you want to get more information on all of this, as I said, the particular reports that I mentioned, uh, let me just show you where to go. Okay, so I've shown you already to go to the orderbookedge.com to get the sample reports available. I've shown you that. I'll just as a reminder. Amazing how people don't know. So if you go here again, if you go into my uh, new Edge, sorry, the orderbookedge.com, look for this article right here. Algo Trading Revolution with PDF Reports, Institutional Strategies Reshaping Markets in August 2026. Okay, so there, that is where you'll get your samples because people ask me all the time. I'll make this video that you're watching a trailer on my YouTube channel, so I'll refer people to that. The other thing is this right here, hftcode.com. Couple things I might start looking at changes here. This site has done pretty impressive numbers. So in here, we've got these two products here. They're going to go up in price. Okay, no doubt. This is on Shopify. So if you want to learn uh, the how to build out a algo trading system uh, using AI, quad quad code with interactive brokers, because that's the most popular broker that I've seen requested. This is done in Python. It has working examples with some basic technical analysis indicators. It covers stocks, forex, commodities, and futures somewhat. Um, and it works. It does do orders and paper trading. And if you're convinced on this, you can add in more customization via prompting. We've got lots of PDFs as part of these packages that will hint at better prompting. So you can use this as a server to to whatever your broker is. In this case, for anybody trying to do this, is with Interactive Brokers. Build out your own server, and this is where we go from here. So I've shown you um, strategies here. Okay, I will be making a subscription service. I think that this is what people want. I've been testing this. Okay, a subscription service to a variety of models, both in Python and the C++ version for Windows. Now, these are created by um, AI. Okay, so you can use the source code and modify them to build a self-contained trading strategy. If it's in Python or in C++, you should be able to port it over to Linux or Mac if you want with the source code. So there's that. And I'm only going to use the profitable strategies and put them in as a subscription. So that would be a subscription at this site, the hftcode.com. So just so people know also, I've been running a poll. Now, here's my thought on this poll. This poll is important because this is about pricing. Okay, so the AI says I could easily charge. Actually, what I'm going to show you is generated by AI, and I think it's um, a very valid response. So in here, we've got a poll I'm running right here. So if I was to provide trading bot source code for either C++ or Python and or these are the sort of pricing peers I'm looking at. So you can see only 5 votes, tiny. I don't know if that means anything. So Python only 29 to $49. Then when you get into the standard, like 20 bots per month, C++ and Python for let's say 100 to 150 per month. Then the high end would be $500 VIP tier where you get access to everything and plus custom bot requests as well. So those are the options I'm looking at. I don't know if I'll include this tier um, because I just find the lower tier it's just yeah you get lots of people but there's more support. I'd rather support people at the higher tier to make it worth my time on the support. Support is not the thing I want to do. So that's what I'm looking at right now. As I said, Um, I'll be making this video the trailer. So when people ask anything about what I'm doing, I'll point them to the YouTube trailer, which is this, and anything to do with, and I'm still doing this with algo trading as well. I'll point them to the HFT code.com. So a lot of people don't go beyond that. They're just continue doing their doom scrolling and they go out and buy all these pretty well garbage trading solutions, um, and unfortunately, they lose. They don't get very far with the whatever they're working with, and then they sometimes come back. And yeah, so this is what we're doing. As I've shown you, we've got 350 that are deployable, and lots more to come in the future because it's August 6th right now. So that's what we're looking at, and we'll leave it at that. So if you're interested, I'll probably have all the links below. Get on my email list at quantlabsnet.com. As well, I'll just show you that last bit. So as I said, just go to QuantLabs, okay, quantlabsnet.com, okay, and in there, what you'll do is you'll find our email list. Now, this is really important so people understand is when you opt in, you have to make sure you click this. Okay, I want to subscribe to the newsletter. Without that, by law, my server, my process will filter you out. You will not be accepted. By law, you have to explicitly indicate you want to subscribe. If you don't get that, you won't get emails. And yeah, you can opt out whenever you want, obviously. Just the important thing to know. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Uh, thank you very much for yeah, thank you very much for watching, And hopefully you got a lot out of this from the end to end where we're at. All the other stuff in the last week or two in terms of that C++ app, it's not that. It's with this video. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a good day.